Think about this question. Who is the greatest living actor? Who are the 10 greatest actors or actresses? It's a really tough question. Tough to put 10 names on that list. Tough to decide who you leave out. But that's certainly not the case for America's most insincere performance artist, Mike Pence.
But do you ever wish that you had spoken up sooner, that you had come out and publicly conceded the election in the weeks before it got to the point that it got to, that you had said something before then?
Well, honestly, Kaitlan, I had frankly hoped all the way up to the waning days before January 6th that President Trump would come around on this issue. I'd seen it many times. You talk about times that we disagreed when I was vice president. I'd seen the president take a hard position on an issue and then take the opposite position and then engage in a debate back and forth. And I'll never forget that Monday night right before January 6th when he stood before a crowd in Georgia at a rally. And I had been in Georgia earlier in the day rallying folks for that special Senate election. And I remember he said, Mike Pence has got to come through for us. And if he doesn't, I won't like him so much. And then he paused and said, no, one thing you know about Mike is he's always going to do the right thing. And I remember in that moment, Kaitlan, thinking, maybe he's coming around and starting to see that that the people that had told him that I had some authority that the Constitution simply did not give me, nor should ever give to any one individual.
What Mike Pence is no hero. He is one of the greatest sycophants of our age. And he was Donald Trump's most important collaborator. When Mike Pence accepted Donald Trump's invitation to join the Republican MAGA ticket, he discarded in an instant every principle that he said he had believed in throughout all of his life. He willingly served the most vile of men. Donald Trump lost the presidential election, but Donald Trump did exactly what he said he was going to do. Listening to Mike Pence say that he thought Donald Trump might come around and do the right thing is really rather extraordinary, isn't it? Is this man's judgment so impaired, so low, that he thinks that Donald Trump would come around and do the right thing? Certainly, he doesn't have the judgment to be president of the United States. His campaign lacks any rationale whatsoever for victory. He's a former politician looking for something to do. And apparently, in 2023, when you find yourself in that position, what you do is run for president. Kaitlan Collins did a great job in this interview with Mike Pence. And she asked Mike Pence the core question that, to my knowledge, no person in the years since January 6th has ever asked him. And it is the most obvious and low-hanging fruit out there. Mike Pence's decision to not try and overturn the election doesn't make him a hero. It just doesn't make him a seditionist. Mike Pence is a king of platitudes. One of them, well, with a squinty-eyed faux sincerity, looking into the camera, talking about the voters don't want to look in the proverbial and ubiquitous rearview mirror. But American politics is designed around looking in the rearview mirror. You must look in the rearview mirror to know what's coming up behind you, to know what dangers are lurking behind you. In order to go forward, to stay on the road, sometimes you have to look back. And for Americans, and more specifically, our national leaders, it means looking back to the American Revolution. It means looking back to the beginning of the Republic. The United States is the font of many of the world's greatest inventions: airplanes, moonships, penicillin. The list goes on and on, from the internet to the semiconductor, to the telephone, to electricity, and on and on. What would you say is the greatest American invention? For me, it's easy. It's the peaceful transition of power, put in place in 1797 by George Washington, when he passed the powers of the presidency to John Adams. His successor left the presidency after one term when he lost the election in a tie to a bitter rival, setting in motion the grandest of traditions. The American people decide who America's leaders are. It is the fundamental foundation of the country. Donald Trump made clear in 2016, with Mike Pence at his side, that he would not accept the results of an election that he lost. And he said it 100 times through the 2020 election. What did the media think was going to happen? What did Mike Pence think was going to happen? The United States is a revolutionary republic that overthrew a king. We are steeped in the history and mythology that America was born by overthrowing the tyrant. What Donald Trump was saying is that America was occupied, that the presidency had been stolen, taken from the American people. Quite a thing to say in a nation with 300 million guns. Mike Pence looks into the camera and he says, well, by January 5th, he was hoping that Donald Trump might come around. Let me give you an analogy to unpack that. Mike Pence is like the guy looking at the guy who set a bomb. And he set a clock on the bomb. And that clock ticked down, day after day, hour after hour, until by January 5th, there were only hours left to the explosion. Mike Pence wants credit for wishing, hoping, thinking that by the evening of January 5th, he may do the right thing. He may defuse the bomb. He may stop it from exploding. Here's the truth. And this is captured on a Showtime documentary. I knew that Joe Biden had been elected the 46th president of the United States by 11:30 p.m. on election night. And so did Mike Pence. And so did every sophisticated media reporter. In fact, by early morning, it was quite clear that Joe Biden would win Georgia. Now, the simple truth of the matter is, everybody knew that Trump lost the election. And the question that Kaitlan Collins asked is the fundamentally important one. What if you had said something sooner? Now, Kaitlan Collins brings it back to election night, but there's no reason Mike Pence had to stay silent since 2016. Mike Pence wanted power. Donald Trump was his vessel to get it, and he took it. And now Mike Pence wants to be regarded as a hero because he didn't try to topple the republic? Absurd. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you never miss a video. Also, for more content just like this, please consider joining our Warning Premium community. You can find out more in the description below.